What's good? You're listening to Tower Pod. I'm your host, Inspirational. Chapter 462 is out on Webtoons, Monday, January 20th, 2020. If you haven't checked out the chapter yet, please do so as this episode contains spoilers. Now, let's begin. This chapter concludes Delete versus the trio and Doan's first actions after awakening. Now, Bomb really tries to convince Delete again after destroying his needle to stop this unnecessary fight now that the hero is awakened. But Delete stands true to his ideals that he will only support the stronger team. Even though Bomb really doesn't want to fight, Kun reminds him that they should really respect his decision even though he goes against what Bomb thinks. Delete showcases his hidden needle made of some gem from Cherry River, but gets surprised when Bomb shows off his wave controller skills like Water Dragon. The rings had more of a mystifying feeling at the start of Season 3 in the Canine arc, but now SIU's focus is more on the transformation blade that Bomb uses, so that kind of takes the highlight of this chapter. Not really the highlight of his new technique this season, but old since we've seen it so many times. Bomb can now inject Shino into the Red Teresa transformation to elongate it, and surprise, surprise, he broke through the impossible to break gemstone needle that Delete uses. This may have seemed a little jumpy as this fight ends pretty quickly afterwards, but Delete is a man of his word. When he realizes that he's weaker, he's gonna end up on the team. In addition, SIU states in his blog post that he wanted to finish this fight at the same time as White versus Caliban, which kind of ended last chapter since White's goal was to just carry on the fight until Doan appears. Because of certain, the time limits that weekly releases have on his work schedule, I'm sure he would have wanted to flush out more stuff, but it's just the way it is. For continuity, it would have been nice to have those blue petals be present in the finishing of this fight versus Delete, but they just randomly appear afterwards as an afterthought, but that's okay. Caliban is honestly shocked as to what would have happened since Doan woke up, but this isn't the Tower of Twist for nothing. Doan decides to do what she wants to do because she had fulfilled her prior obligation by sealing herself for her kingdom. Now, this was foreshadowed a good bit that she wouldn't immediately jump into Bomb's bandwagon because since the start of the Wall arc, the citizens themselves that should have been on the side of FUG since they're housing rebel leaders of FUG, they didn't want to side with either FUG or Jihad. Also, in episode 40 of this season, Hot says that they should wake her up, but Doan can choose whether she wants to have revenge or whether she wants to have peace. Granted, none of us would have assumed what the outcome of her choices would be attacking Bomb. Because Bomb will cause a lot of changes in the tower, which will result in war and pain, she wants to end that threat to the long-standing peace that's been going on. Also, it was cool to see Delete use Shinso rings on his feet to fly with his new crew, the trio. It was good that we got a chance to see more of Doan's past before she was sealed, but doesn't say when this flashback happened. Now, a Jihad lookalike just shows up at her house before she was sealed and says that, you're gonna wake up again. This boss slash captain is confirmed by SIU in his blog post to not be Jihad or Wagner, even though he looks very similar. The captain seems to have a different mole placement on his face, but maybe he could be another red light district prince. He also seems almost as eager and curious to see / talk to Bomb like Data Jihad did back in the Hidden Floor, but seems to know so much from that long ago. This captain seems to be controlling the narrative and the way that Doan is acting now after being sealed years and years after. Maybe this captain is still alive and doing his thing and just waiting for the moment that Doan pops up. The irony that Doan says to White and Guide, "Can't you see who this boy is that the Guide actually can't see anything when she's around Bomb. Although Doan was sad that she was getting sealed away, the main cause for her change in behavior was the little kid that held on to her, saying can't run away. That's what led Doan to use the memory wiping to, not cause too much pain or guilt for the citizens in the kingdom that they were feeling, because they felt so guilty they avoided Doan over the couple months before she was sealed. It seems like she was tired of being used as a tool for her kingdom's happiness, and it's downright unfair for her to take on all this burden. It seems kind of similar to Elaine, but Elaine was more understanding in a sense that she stayed doing her job. Doan, on the other hand, is straight up rebelling her rebellion and siding with Jihad. But the issue with her wanting to kill Bomb for peace is that now she's fighting for a falsehood of peace under the rule of Jihad, who is actively trying to start a war by killing the sealed warriors in this wall, which I don't think Khan would have known about, so Doan is honestly just jumping to conclusions based on Khan's memories that were transferred to her. I guess we will now have the main fight of Doan versus Bomb next chapter. That's all for this chapter. Make sure to heart the chapter on Webtoons every time you finish reading, and comment to be a part of the community. If you get a chance, subscribe to get access to these reviews every week. My social media can be found by searching Inspirational on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. Shout out to my designer. You can find his work on Instagram at jaddenv_photography. Shout out to my editor. You can find him on Twitter at YoungObesity. Shout out to Adios on Reddit for the translations of SIU's blog posts. This has been Tower Pod. See you all next week.